Yeah, last session we had discussed, I skipped one concept actually, I'll just revise it again. Instance block. I'll visit the instance block itself. Okay, we know that, you know the execution, everything you know. I'm not telling about that. Everything, functionality is same. But one thing what we have to understand about instance block is, just see this. When we write the source code, in your source code, instance block will be like this. I'll write, this is the instance block. SOP inside instance block. This is the instance block. Okay, then I'll have a constructor. You can have methods, that is secondary now. But yeah, SOP inside constructor. Actually, I missed this concept yesterday. I forgot it actually. I don't know why. Okay, so this is how this is instance block, this is constructor. You can have a method. I'm not saying no, you can have any number of methods. This story is different. Story of methods is different. We are right now focusing on these two. Okay, so this is Java file. This is your Java file, hello.java file. This is a very important concept for you to understand. Means how the internal execution happens. Okay, when you compile, you'll get a dot class file. Yes or no? Now what happens in the hello.class file? This instance block is there now. It will be inside the constructor. Whatever statements you have written inside instance block and inside constructor. These both statements means whatever statements, not only one, you write 1000 statements here. All the 1000 statements will come into what? The constructor automatically. Okay. So SOP inside constructor, but it will be above the statements of what? Constructor. It will be above the statements of this. It will be above it. Understood? It will be above it. Okay. So and you will have M1. This all will continue. M1, M2. So this is in the dot class file. You will not be seeing the block actually. You will not be seeing the block. Okay. So finally, what gets executed? Dot Java or dot class? Dot class. So source file looks like that. Dot class file looks like this. So now when you write the code, client code, class, demo, okay, class demo, PSVM, okay, if I write hello, H is equal to new hello, what happens? The constructor gets executed now. So this is how the execution happens. Yeah, let's see this output. I'll show you this actually, yesterday's code, and you'll understand this now. This one functionality, working wise, everything is same, not changing it. Means the instance block gets executed every time when the new instance gets created. Same now, you create one more object, again the constructor gets executed now. Again you create one more object, again the constructor gets executed now. Flow is same. Okay, so this is how it gets created and executed. So let's see this now, yesterday's code. See, maintain your folder structure properly so that it will be really helpful for you to refer like this, else you'll find it very difficult later. See, this is the instance block, this is the constructor. We are having M1, M2. I'll remove all this actually, and this block and all I'll remove. A very simple class. Yes or no? Any questions here? I'll compile. You compile it. Okay. So then what happens after compiling? You can go to the location where your file is there. Instance block hello.class. I can decompile it. You know how to open it now? Okay. You can use kava j and open it. And when you use it, see what has happened. Where is the instance block here? Inside the constructor. In fact, in dot class file there is no instance block only. This is how they have designed it. So what code you write inside the instance block will automatically go inside the constructor. During compilation it will go. And finally it is dot class which is getting executed. Are you clear with this? Okay. Now I'll give one question to you. What if I have 2 constructors or 3 constructors? What will happen? That code means, okay, see, whatever you write in the block, will be the first statement inside the constructor. Means you write 1000 statements here. All the 1000 statements will be the first, and then your what your code you are written in the constructor, that will start off. Okay, see, you can write more statements. This is Java file, so you can write more statements here. Whatever statements you write, 1, 2, it will be coming where? In the constructor, but in the first place, like this. Understood? In dot class it will happen, not in Java. So when we code in Java file, looks like that only. Clear this now? So example I'll put more statements now. Just I'm adding some more statements, that's it. Inside instance block, inside instance block, anything you write, that is secondary now. But we are adding more statements. Now let's see what happens. I'll compile. See, always you have to compile. Otherwise what will happen now? The old .class file will be used. If you don't compile also, it will execute, but it will be using the old .class file. So if you want to use the latest .class file, you have to recompile always. There's the location. Yeah, see this? Now I'll open it again. We have 3 statements. Now see, all the 3 statements are where? Inside the constructor. Okay, or if it is still more clarity want, inside first, second, some lines I'm finding. First, second, third line, something like that you write. Okay, now I'll compile. Okay, now you see. Open with Kavaje, say this. Inside first, second, third, so all the statements what you wrote there, as it is, they will come into the constructor. Clear? So this is what happens. Okay, now what if I have 2 constructors or 3 constructors? You generally overload constructors, no? You can overload constructors, no? So what if I have 2, 3 constructors like this? We are creating an object is secondary, using it in all is secondary, but I am having one constructor. So what will happen now? This code will be there in all constructors now. See this, I'll write one int a, okay. Just see, we are not bothered about overloading now. We are seeing how the instance block gets added into every constructor. So I'll compile now. Again you can go and check. See what has happened? In this constructor, actually there is no, in the this is .class file, I have decompiled it. It is not there, the instance block only is not here. Okay, you are having 3 constructors and that same code is there in all the 3 constructors. What if constructor is not there? Good question, no? What you so what will happen now? So sometimes you become extra intelligent, but you ask the compiler or you talk to the computer. You only try. See, I'm not having any constructor now. What has happened? The code in the instance block has been added into the default constructor. As simple as this. Correct, na? That's it. Okay. Now what if I have 2, 3 instance blocks? Can I have multiple instance blocks?
Yes.
Can I have? Think. Can I have multiple instance blocks like this? Inside first instance block, inside second instance block, inside third instance block. We'll remove these statements. So how many blocks are there now? 3 blocks. So what will happen now? No, is it correct first of all? Yes, you can write it. Why? Because see, you cannot declare 2 things with the same name in one scope. Here I am not using the identifier, no. Obviously it is possible. So only when you are declaring things, in all languages this is the same story. When you use identifiers, you can use identifiers in one scope, you can have only once. Means see, what I mean to say is, this is one scope. Here I can declare int a once, but again I can't redeclare. I can use it. A is equal to 9, A is equal to 11, whatever you want to do. That is secondary. Okay, so in one scope you can declare anything only once. But since blocks do not have name, you can write any number of blocks. Are you clear with this? Okay. You can't give a name to instance blocks now. There's no way of giving, there's no mechanism to give what? Name to instance blocks. You can only give name to local blocks. So if I have multiple blocks like this, let us compile now. So okay, I have not added on constructor. Okay, we'll see in the default constructor first. So it compiled. Did you notice first of all? Default constructor was added, and whatever code you had written in blocks has come into constructor. 3 blocks I wrote. All the code inside the 3 blocks has come into the default constructor. If you write argumented constructor, fine, it will be there. But it is coming in the same order as you have inserted. Notice that. Yeah, this one, no? Yes. It is coming means you wrote the first block. This, see what you wrote in the first block, that will be the first statement. What you wrote in the second block will be the next set of statements. What you wrote in the third block will be the next set of statements. It will go in the same order. While it is putting into the constructor, it will be putting it in the same order. Understood? But we do not write multiple instance blocks, only one we write. Even though you can do it, see, there will be so many things which the language will be supporting. But finally what we use is important. Understood? When you buy a phone, how much you do R&D? When you buy TV, when you buy bike, fully you will do now. All specification, this thing, that thing, comparing, everything you will do. Lastly, what will you do in phone? Red button, green button. Correct? Huh? Hello, disconnect. Maximum one more thing is SMS, or you might say the mail guild, that's it. How many features you will not use? But while buying, this is there, that is not there. That is human tendency. Understood? So same way here, we learn the language in depth. I'm not saying no, but what is actually used practically is different. So even though you can write multiple instance block now, okay, we write only one. If at all you write, you will write only one. Clear this? Okay. And this is one more place where you can initialize your instance variables. One more place you can initialize. But generally we don't rely on this. We depend on the constructor, because constructors have the ability to accept values, and if with those values like parameters you have, and those parameter value you can give to the instance variables. So blocks do not have that ability. But by chance, if you want to initialize values without external values, okay, that time you can go with instance block. External values means from outside you can't supply. Internally you have to give the value. So that's how it can be done. But developers, whatever it is, we prefer more of constructor only. I'm telling you now, we have got all the support, but what we use is very important. Clear this? That's all about blocks. This particular topic I forgot to tell yesterday. Are you clear? So always remember dot class which gets executed, not dot Java file. Okay, now we'll continue with this keyword. This keyword. This with variables I showed you. Now we have to see this with constructor. Got it now? So we'll see this with constructor now. Okay, so I'll continue now. So we'll learn now how to invoke the constructor of the class within the same class. See, we are seeing how to access the members of the class within the same class. Okay. See, one data type you struggle. Hardly 4 or 5 more days. If you struggle to design one data type, it is very simple in Java. All data types are as simple as this. Clear? Okay. So work hard so that later on you will not find difficulty. You are having sufficient time now. Okay. You are having sufficient time to code, you can do it. Later on you will not have time. Okay. For all these basics. The problem is you think you are very good in basics. If before joining cluster, what will you tell? Java, I know Java. Correct? Now what is happening? According to you, Java is something. But here I will teach Java in differently. It is different. So problem is you think Java is something, but actually it is something. Totally different from what you think. So that is the reason, because of the contradiction. Now, see what happens? You are here, we both start off here, and you go down. Means you think, means you go south, but I'll be going north. This is the difference between you and me. We are dead against. You think Java, and you can do what? Big projects, massive projects, that thing, this thing, everything you'll think. Okay, because that is your misconception. Because you have not understood the subject properly. Okay, and you, whenever I tell anything, you'll start thinking. Why you start thinking? Everything I'll tell you, not like what you have learnt. But fact is, it is something different. Okay, so you have to move with me, only then things become easier. Especially I want this to computer science people. Electronics and all, I don't have problems in training. They directly say, I don't know, happily, full-heartedly they learn. Computer science are having this major problem. It is my experience what I am telling you. And finally you will say, most of the times non-computer science people learn better Java. Computer science people don't learn because they have that misconception. I know everything, I know Java. So when somebody says he knows everything, how will you teach him now? It is not possible. Their mind is blocked. This is the problem. Okay, so especially computer science people, we tell this. Okay, but there are, I'm not telling all computer science people are like this. Some are exceptions. Reason is they have passion in learning. They want to learn Java in depth. Those people are different. Okay, and one more thing is, in my experience again, people with 70-80% only fail to learn properly. Why they don't learn now? Overconfidence. Too much overconfidence. Hey, I'll get job anyway, I'm having percentage. This is their problem. But people with 55 to 65 especially, not in, these people, they struggle hard, or even 50 also I can take. In fact, in cluster, I can bring it down to 45 to 65. These people know 45% and all, what they do? They know that because of percentage they can never get the job. So they have to be something better than others. Their only option is what now? At least they should be good in one language. So they put full effort. And finally these people will be coming out in good colors. And they'll be getting better jobs. This is my experience I'm telling you. Before in hand I'm warning you, how good you take this forward, it's up to you. You should not tell sir didn't guide you. Okay, see here learning Java is very easy. Somehow like this or like that you'll learn it off. But guidance is very important. Most of the people who join cluster join for only guidance. But now I can't give more guidance because what? Subject is only so vast here. Subject is only so vast. And with subject I go on giving philosophy like this, we lose time. Understood? So before in hand I'm telling you, practice this. Time and again I cannot repeat this. Okay, before in hand I'm telling what is the basic problem with you people, why you don't get jobs, why you fail to clear interviews, why you get depressed. Okay, I'm telling you all the reasons. So, and time is very short now, because by the time you think that okay, like your Reddit means by the time you realize now all this, by the time you realize course will be over. Within 5-6 months I will finish the course. That time what will happen? Where is the second chance for you to learn? Okay, and meanwhile in your batch what happens? Your batchmates will start getting job who have really worked hard. Looking at them you will get depressed. That is one more drawback. Okay, these are few places you have to just get adjusted. Okay, and even if you want to repeat, we'll allow, I will not stop you. But it will not happen. Why it will not happen now? Psychology problem. Juniors will ask you. What they'll ask? You are again coming to class. Huh? Why you are coming? Senior batch you attended now. Why you are not getting job? What problem? You know how you discuss. You know how you discuss now. That you'll make on big meeting now. Okay. That senior will have so much of headache to answer now. Finally he'll stop coming only. One person asks fine. In one batch there will be 100 people. Everybody will ask him, why are you coming to our batch? You didn't understand. What happened? These are problems. And at the same time, parallelly what happens? Others will get placed. Definitely you will get placement. You are in cluster, you will get placed, no doubt about it. Only you have to work hard. But getting placement means I will not get you job. Okay, I will only get you the interview. Interviews we can generate. We can give you plenty of interviews, we can get you. That's not a problem. But the thing is, you have to clear the interview. Can I give interview for you? See, anybody, before you join cluster also, you inquire so much. What you will inquire? Do they teach good? Do they do this? Do they do that? Everything you'll inquire. Why? Because you're paying money now. That's the reason. So nobody will give you money free of cost. So even you are expecting, you are giving only a one-time payment of some money here. You are paying your fees one time. Okay. But for company, you'll ask every month now. How much should they think? How much you'll ask? That to not 1,000, 2,000. Minimum I want 5.5. Minimum 5.5 lakhs. This is how you ask. Now when you are not ready to give 1 rupee, if I ask you 1 rupee, you'll say, why should I give you? What? You know your nakras. Now company also will ask, why should I? You are asking job now. Job means indirectly what you are asking? Money. So company will ask, what can you do? Sir, I can do this, sir. Means, okay, do it at your home only, they'll tell. So you should be able to deliver it to company. So things are like this. Clear? So more philosophy I can't give. Just get adjusted to all this. What you have seen in life is different, but what you're going to see in future is totally different. Okay, there somebody was taking care of you. Now nobody is there to take care of you. Okay, so things are like this. Understand, work hard, because very shortly I'll be finishing class. Within 4-5 days it will be over now. Once I complete off class, we go to massive subjects like inheritance and all that new features we'll start seeing. So before we reach to that level, initially when I started Java, it was very simple. Int I, float f, very happy you were. Oh, I know all this. Oh, I know all this. Why should I type? Suddenly you saw the same things I started using in a different way. Using the primitives, I started building what? User-defined type now. All the things I used. Methods, blocks, control statements. So whatever logic you write, you'll be writing it in a class only.
Sir, I have doubt regarding yesterday's class.
What doubt? I'll come to that. Some philosophy I'm giving now. Let me finish philosophy. Okay. So then, because you have to highlight computer science people time and again. Otherwise, they are like virus. They'll not spoil themselves. They'll spoil the batch also. What will happen now? Electronics people, they'll be working hard. They'll sit one day beside computer science person. Someday he'll come to lab. Someday. He'll try to code, he'll not get output. Now electronics people will start getting worried. Why? Computer science only not getting output, where will I get? But what is the actual scenario there? After 20-25 class, he'll try to code. What he'll code now, you tell? Am I justifying your answers now? Why they can't code, what happens, how you get worried in the lab? You code every day, you don't bother about that guy, man. With Scratch I carried you. Scratch, from installation to int I, how the languages got evolved. Okay, I've carried you in a very smooth manner. Okay, so this is how it happens. Clear? So think about all this and work hard. Jobs are there for you, good careers are there, that I'll assure you. No doubt about it. The brightest careers you get, people who have joined cluster have got the brightest careers. That is why you are here today. The reason why you are here is somebody referred you. You didn't come to us with advertisements. You didn't come to us with any other thing. Cluster did not advertise till now. We have 10 years of history. Okay, we did not advertise till now. So without advertisements, you people are coming here means only what? Track record, stats. Our stats talk about that, statistics. Okay, whoever has referred you, they are in very good position now. 4 or 5 years, there will be TL, PM, in that position they will be. Okay, salaries are very high. Initially you are looking for what now? Job. How much? 4 months, 5 months, no salary, no problem. But after that, if you give me 5,000, it's okay. Today we'll talk like this, sir. But let me complete the course, sir. Your demand will be increasing. Minimum I want 4 lakhs. You'll come to that stage. So that is how it will change. Okay, you'll become totally professional. Things are different. So get ready for this future stage. Okay, lot of things are there. It is in fact simple. I'm not telling no, but you make it difficult for yourself. You make it difficult for yourself. It's something like digging your own graveyard. You know, digging your own graveyard means what? Nimgunde nive todukula. Means what? You start digging. Computationally you'll dig. He's digging faster. He's digging faster. I'll dig more fast. You'll dig. After digging, then you'll see depth. Oh, I should be deeper than him. Computation there also. Faster also you'll dig. Deeper also you'll dig. Then what will happen? You will only jump. Nobody will push you. You will only jump. I will jump first. After jumping, what will you do? Please close me. Bury me. This is your fate. This is your fate actually. So it's very difficult for you people to understand. For me, Java, you tell me, I'll teach it in what? In sleep also you wake me up. Or even if my sleeping body also comes here, I can teach you Java. It is that simple. Okay. But the problem is guiding you. Because we cannot, it's very difficult to control you. When we are doing this, your mind will be wavering. Oh, I should have done COBOL. I should have done testing. I should have done .NET. Okay. Simply you'll think, unnecessarily. Everywhere same story, no? You have to learn one language, no? Which language will you learn? Choose. You have to learn one language. There's no doubt, no escape from that. Which one you will learn, you choose. Coding is secondary. What you will code, where you will code, which company is secondary. But to enter that industry, one language is mandatory. Which one you tell me? And especially 3 languages are important. One is programming language. Second one is presentation language. Means for generating good UI, user interface. Third one is querying language. Querying language means to work with database. Okay, 3 languages are very essential to enter a company. Understood? So these are things, understand. So okay, I'll continue. Yes, what's your doubt?
Sir, I tried to access variables in the class containing main method, sir, using this keyword. It was displaying an error.
Now that's what I told you, one statement was there. We'll come to your doubt very shortly. You have not read the statements properly. I gave some notes yesterday. Anyway, we'll see that with example itself, not theoretically like this. Okay, let me continue. Now, for your answer means his question is inside the main method. He tried to use this, something like this is question. But where has he used this? In the class containing main method, he has used this. There is something called as public static. So these two are dead against. Okay, so this concept you'll understand only after I complete static. So I'll have to hold till then. Understood? I have to complete static, then you'll get your doubts clear. Apart from that, do you have any doubts with this keyword? Yesterday I used this keyword for what? Accessing the instance variables of the class within the same class. Remember that. Outside the class, how will you access? Create the object with the variable, reference variable dot you will access. Inside the class, how will you access? Either directly or this dot. 2 options are there. Okay. But when it becomes mandatory to use this dot? When there is conflict between local variables on instance variables. Local variables will get the preference. Is that clear to you? Is that clear to you? Okay. Just 5 more classes, all your concepts will be clear now. Just 5 more classes are required. I'll be comparing both. The main method class also I'll compare, as well as our class also I'll compare. Both the classes I'll compare. Then you'll get the clear idea. 2 classes we have to compare. Right now we are focusing on only what we are designing. Later on I'll compare it with the class containing main method also. So that time, then it will become very easy for you to code. Okay, I'll continue with what now? This with constructor. You had written that document now? I told you yesterday. Last part. Okay. Fine. Means I'll be covering this. You can initially write it, but anyway, I'll start off. You can write it from the video. Okay. See, this is a keyword in Java. We will discuss this. Instance variables I discussed. Okay. And the constructor we are discussing. Okay. So you can write this before, and then you can continue with the examples. Anyway, I'll start off with the examples. Then I'll come and explain these points. 1 second. Okay, I think we'll use it without. So we are having three constructors here which are overloaded, yes or no? There are, see here we are focusing on constructors, we are not focusing on variables, methods and all that, we are focusing on the constructor. So we are having three overloaded constructor, one constructor without parameter, one constructor with two parameters, one of type int, other one is of type string, one more constructor with one int, one string and one boolean variable. Understood? So let's see now how do you execute this code. See, they are overloaded and you know very well now what happens. PSVM, if I say hello, h is equal to new hello, one object gets created, which constructor gets executed? The first one. This is very simple for you, don't have any questions here. So now means one new memory gets allocated, it will have all the three constructors, int I, string s, then one more constructor will be there, int I, string s, boolean b. So new memory 150, that is given to what? H. Okay. But when the new memory is allocated, among the three constructors, which one gets executed? First one. The first one gets executed and it will print the first constructor. If I say hello h1 is equal to new hello, and if I pass something like 10 and cluster. Cluster is a string value. You know how to send the string value now? 10 and cluster you send. I'll write it down. 10 and in double quotes you send cluster. New hello of some numerical value 1 and this. So int and see now int you are sending, string you are sending. Again one more new memory will be allocated. Now the second constructor is getting executed. So right now what's happening? Only one constructor is executing. Either one, any one. Either it will execute the first one, or it will execute the second one, or you can execute the third one also. So if you want to execute the third one, what will you do? Hello h2 is equal to new hello of, what will you send? What do you have to send? One int, one string and one boolean value, true. True or false, anything you send, it will execute. So again one more new memory will execute, but see, new memory gets allocated, but in that memory only one constructor is getting executed, yes or no? New means what happens now? This is h1, again h2. See, for h1 what will happen? It will also have all the three constructors. Hello, int I, string s. I am not having space, simply I am writing now. Hello, I, s, b. So for the now for this output, which constructor will execute? Second one, I and s. Correct? 10 will go to I and cluster will go to yes. This is how it gets the output. And if I say hello h2 is equal to new hello, one more new memory will be allocated. You will be having constructors here, three constructors. Hello, int I, string s. Again one more constructor will be there. Hello, int I, string s. So now new hello, which constructor will be called now? Third one. So new memories will be allocated, and in that memory only that particular constructor will be executed. Understood? Are you clear with this? Overloading constructors is clear for you now? Till now I am sending int, but now we have started sending different types. Observe now. It's not that always your constructors will have parameters of type int. It can have of any type. Fine. This is done. But now, how do you access the constructor of hello class in demo class? That is very important. How did you access it? There are three constructors. So mandatory you have to tell new, and then you have to call your required constructor. Yes or no? See how you are accessing the constructor of one class in another class. Again new, again constructor. This one you have to call. Again next time new, and you have to call the constructor. So this is how you invoke a constructor of one class in another class. it will execute. But sometimes it so happens that you want to call the constructor of the class within the same class. Let's see how you do it. Okay, now forget this program now. We are seeing a totally different program now. This is generally how it executes, but we are now seeing something totally different. Okay, so now it's a new program what we are seeing now. Just carefully observe now. So the first constructor is there now. It wants to invoke the second constructor. Requirement is what now? The first constructor wants to invoke the second constructor. So how will the first constructor invoke the second constructor? According to you, generally see, we invoke like this. Yes or no? I can use the name and I'll pass 10 and some string value. Correct? But when you want to invoke the constructor of the class within the same class, you can't use the name. If you want to use it with name, there is a rule in Java. You have to use new keyword. You have to use new keyword. And if you use new, if you write the syntax, let's see, our intention is what? One constructor has to invoke another constructor. That's it. So in case if you use the name, generally how do you invoke a method? With names only, no? So like that you consider now. I'm using the name and I'm using new. Because why I'm using new now? Because we are using the name. See there, how did you invoke outside the class? New and hello. So same way you have to use here, new and hello. If you write the code like this, let's see what happens. So I'll take only one example now. See this. See, I'll say hello h is equal to new hello now. What will happen now? Memory will be allocated. So how you written your code, same way memory gets allocated. And you are calling the first constructor. But what will the first constructor do? It will try to call what? New hello of 10 cluster. Then it will print SOP first constructor. Yes or no? So what will happen now? What is going to happen now? See, hello h is equal to new hello means memory has got allocated. The first constructor is getting executed, but the first constructor is going to call the second constructor. So it will try to invoke this. But it cannot invoke here because again you are telling what here? New. New means again what will happen? One more new memory will be allocated. But this is not now your requirement. I want to invoke the constructor in the same memory, not in a different memory. So these problems will come up. That's why they are having one syntax. If at all you want to invoke the constructor of a class within the same class, how do you do it? We'll do it with the help of this keyword. Understood? You will do it with the help of this keyword. Let's see how you do it now. So don't write new hello, that's all. Everything is same. Just you'll write this. That's it. So now what will happen? Here also. Now you might have a question. What is the use of one constructor invoking another constructor? That answer we'll see later. But first see the execution, how it will happen. Then we'll discuss what is the use of one constructor invoking another constructor. Okay, because you all are engineers, you will definitely get such kind of questions, I know that. Yes or no? So fine then. So what happens now? Hello h is equal to new hello? Means you are obviously intelligent man, that's why you'll get those doubts. Okay, so hello h is equal to hello, memory will be allocated now. So then in that this first constructor is executed because see, we are trying to call the constructor without any arguments. So this one will be obviously executed, but the first constructor will try to execute the second constructor by using what now? This, and second constructor will get executed. If at all if you want second constructor to invoke third constructor, yes, that is also possible. You'll write like this. This, see now 10 is given to I, cluster is given to S. Correct? What I'll do? I, yes, now the same, these see, 10 and cluster are what? Arguments. I and S are what? Parameters. I and S are parameters, but since I use it here, they become what? Arguments. Parameters can become again arguments when you send them to another location. Yes? So now, but boolean value I'll hard code. So now what happens? See, I am just saying hello h is equal to new hello. What will happen now? It will not print first constructor. It's building a stack now. What happens? First constructor will call this statement is still pending. It's something like one method calling another method. M1 calls M2, M2 calls M3, same thing. So first constructor will call this one. What is the second constructor doing? Calls the third constructor. And if the actual output what you'll be seeing now is third constructor, second constructor, first constructor. So it will print like that now. So all the three constructors will be executed now. But you are calling only one. Till now what was happening? Only one constructor was getting executed. But now all the three constructors are getting executed because you are writing the code like this by using this. If you don't use this, only one constructor will execute. If you use this, it depends now. That will call which one. Understood now? So now what happens is, see, this is called as constructor chaining. Here what concept you have to understand is, how will a constructor in one class call the another constructor in the same class? How will you call it? By use of this keyword. By the use of this keyword. So when you say hello h is equal to new hello now, see this, new memory will be allocated. I am writing it clearly for you now. So this 10 comma cluster SOP first constructor. Then there is one more, this of I, yes and true. SOP second constructor. So similarly you will have what? One more constructor now. Int I, string S, boolean B. So SOP third constructor. See the flow now, what happens? Hello h is equal to new hello, you have called the first one, but the first one is calling what? Second one. What is the second one doing? Calling the third one. So new memory will be allocated, address is 150, all the three constructors complete execution and that address is given to h. Okay, what happens if I call hello h1 is equal to new hello and directly I will send 10 and cluster. Only the new memory will allocate, but only the second and third will execute. Only the second and third, because new memory will allocate again. In that memory, first one is not called, second one is called. So you are supplying the values. It will take the values and it will invoke the third. So only it will print third and second. First it will print third, then it will print second. See, for this answer will be 3, 2, 1. Means third constructor, second constructor, first constructor. For this the answer will be 3 and 2. Means third constructor, second constructor. If I want, I can create one more object. Hello h2 is equal to new hello of 10 cluster true. Now only third constructor will get executed. See the flow, order of flow. 3, 2, 1 it is. Don't get confused. Here it will be 3, 2. Here it will be only 3. So this is for first one, this is for second one, this is for last one. H1 and H2. New memory will be allocated. Remember this. I am drawing only one here. For H I am drawing. H1 and H2 will have a different story. Means new memory will be allocated. Again things will get executed. So this process is called as constructor chaining. One constructor invoking another constructor is called as what? Constructor chaining. So if at all you want to do constructor chaining, you have to use what? This keyword. If at all you want to do constructor chaining, sometimes this will become mandatory. We'll see, I'll give you examples. In this example, it doesn't make any sense. We are only seeing the flow, we are only seeing the chaining. But when to use it, I'll be telling you. Next. Are you clear with the flow now? Are you clear with the output? Do you have any questions here? No? Fine. Now, the immediate next question now. I'll only put, why should one constructor call another constructor? Yes or no? What is the use of this? You have to tell the answer. Why should I tell? Correct? Tell. See, what does a constructor contain? Initialization logic. Correct? What do methods contain? Business logic. Why do you invoke a method? To reuse the logic. Why do you invoke a constructor? To reuse the logic. Nothing else. So always methods and constructors are used for reusability. Okay. Now why does one constructor call another constructor? Means to reuse initialization logic. To reuse initialization logic. So here it doesn't make sense. But I'll give one more example where it makes very good sense. And this is one of the definite SCJP question for you. This flow is one of the definite SCJP question for you. We are seeing constructor chaining in same class. We are seeing how to do constructor chaining in same class. Constructor chaining in same class. First of all, what is constructor chaining? One constructor invoking another constructor is called as constructor chaining in the same class. No, you can, okay, don't write same class, because we can call from subclass to superclass also. One constructor invoking another constructor is called as constructor chaining. One constructor invoking another constructor is called as constructor chaining. Constructor chaining is done with the help of this. And when you write, see, when you are talking about this with constructors now, you always have to write like this. Constructor chaining is done with the help of this, right, with braces. Understood? Especially when we talk the usage of constructor with this now, we use the brace. For variables we'll write only this. For methods also we'll write only this. For constructor especially we put the braces. When you are writing notes for what? Constructor. Okay. Then next, what is constructor chaining? It's a process of one constructor invoking another constructor. How do you do it? With the help of this keyword, okay, or this keyword. Yes. And what is the advantage of doing constructor chaining? Next question you might have. It is done for reusing initialization logic, nothing else. Now I'll give you a very good example where you can see how you can reuse the initialization logic. This concept is clear now? Okay. I'll remove this one, let this remain. Do you have any questions in this diagram? Let this remain. Okay, so that you can compare this example also, the next example also. Shall I clear this? See, now very clearly I show you what is initialization logic. Class box int w h d. We are having three instance variables. Three instance variables are there. Now box int w. So here I will tell this dot w is equal to w. Correct? There is conflict between what? Local variable and instance. Slowly I am using both now. I am using this with variables also, this to use constructor also. Slowly we are clubbing both now. See this now. Are you clear? Then next, box, one more constructor, int w, int h. Understood? Int w, int h. Now what happens? See, there is some initialization. See, in this constructor what is happening? Only w is getting initialized. Notice. Till now what? Till now we have written class box in a different way. Today I am writing class box in a different way. Till now how we have written? One constructor was initializing all the three variables. That's a different case. One constructor only was initializing all the three. Okay. Like yesterday you saw, no? Just I'll show you again. See, this was the story till now. So they are completely two different ways of initializing. Just check out now. Till now we have done the initialization in this way. Now which approach you take is your wish. I'm not saying this is correct, this is correct. Depends on scenario. These are both correct approaches. Int w. Yesterday we saw this now. Int h, int d. So what will I do now? This dot w is equal to w. This dot h is equal to h. This dot d is equal to d. If I want, I can overload. This dot w is equal to w. This dot h is equal to h. D is equal to 10. I can hard code. If I don't give a value, it will take default value as 0. Now one more I will take box int x. So you know where to create conflicts, where not to create conflicts. Here it is optional to use this keyword. Directly I can write w is equal to x, h is equal to x, d is equal to x, or I can write this dot w. This is optional. Here using this is optional, but here it is mandatory. You can do the initialization like this. But let's take this case now. In the first constructor, see, okay, once again, see, you take the first constructor here. If I call the first constructor, what will happen? All the three variables will be initialized now. If I call the second constructors also, you can see now, in every constructor what's happening? All the three variables are getting initialized. Here chaining also is not happening. If you say box, see the code now. Class demo box b is equal to new box 1, 2, 3. New memory will be allocated. In that memory all constructors will be present. First constructor will execute. No chaining in. Constructor chaining is not happening. Correct? Huh? Box B1 is equal to new box 5, 6. Again new memory allocates. Second constructor gets executed. Only one. But see, whenever I create this B object or B1 object, in that object only one constructor is getting executed. But that constructor is taking full measures to initialize all the instance variables. Is it clear? Okay. But now let us take this case. We are writing it. But here what's happening? The first constructor is not initializing only what? W. Yes or no? Now second constructor, it will get two values. But it will initialize which one? It can initialize W plus H. But for initializing H, I have to write this code again, no? This is how you will do now. You are getting two values, you are initializing it. But why are you writing this line of code again? This code is there now. So what can I do? Reuse it now. How will I reuse it? Invoke it. You can invoke it. How will you invoke? So this is correct, I am not saying no. But instead of writing it again, see, I'll write this also I'll write beside. This is also correct, I am not saying no. But instead of writing the same code again, we are reusing the code. Are you following now? Okay, next. So this is optional. What I put in this one is optional. Next. See, I am using this to invoke the constructor also here. At the same time, I am using this to access the instance variable also. Check out how I am using this. Two usages I am showing you now. One to access the constructor, another one to access the variable. So here there is conflict between local variable and instance variable. That's why I am doing this. Now let's take the third case, third constructor. Int W, int H, int D. So now what will happen? This is the code you can write. I'll finish it off. Correct code first. Or I can write it in this dot W is equal to W. This dot H is equal to H. Okay. This dot D is equal to D. Means instead of this one line, you could have written two lines like this. But why do you want to write it again? Again, reuse it. So this is what you mean by reusing initialization logic. Are you following now? Okay. Now let's see the flow now. Client code we'll see how the code will execute. So right now we'll take this case now. I'll create an object of, see, this is a completely different initialization thing. That's a different one. Okay, I'm writing both side by side. So you don't have to get confused. In this case, chaining will happen. Let's see how the chaining will happen now. So I'll take, see, now I'm taking this class. Understood? I'm taking this class and I'll create the object now. Box B is equal to new box. Let's see what happens. New. Memory will be allocated. Yes or no? What will be there in the memory? W, H, D. What I have written in the class, same thing will come into existence. Int W. This dot W is equal to W. Box. Int W. Int H. This dot W is equal to W. This dot H is equal to H. Sorry. This of W. Box of int W, int H, int D. This of W, H. This dot D is equal to D. So new, first see, new has allocated memory. I am sending three values. 1, 2, 3. So what will happen on 1, 2, 3? Means it will execute the third constructor, the one with 3 arguments. So 1, 2, 3 are arguments. They are given to W, H and D, which are parameters. What will the third constructor do? It invokes the second constructor now within the same class. Values. So now W, H and D were parameters. But now what is happening? They become arguments. Here it becomes argument. So the value of this W is given to this W. This is another local variable. Scope is different. So value of W is given to W. Value of H is given to H. Understood? Then this W and H are parameters now. This W and H are arguments. So now there is conflict between instance variable and local variable. So what will I do now? This of W. Now this parameter becomes an argument. I am sending the value to the first constructor. So now W will be initialized. control comes back, this is a pending statement. So W was initialized to 1, control comes back, H is initialized to 2, control comes back, D is initialized to 3. Full memory means object is created, the address of this object is now given to B, 150. Are you clear with this? Are you understanding the chaining, how it works? But here it means in this case chaining will not happen now. Here what's happening? Only one constructor will execute and complete of the execution. So this is one more way you can do the initialization. Are you clear with this? It's your approach. Both are correct. See, in this case what is happening? You are writing the code here also. You are writing the same code here also. Yes or no? But see, okay, I'll compare both later. 1 second. Let me finish it off. So are you clear with this? Okay. Now, you might have one question here. What if I say box B1 is equal to new box of 10? I'll send only one value. We are taking this example now. I'm taking which box? This box as an example. So new memory will allocate now. I'll use the same memory. Just assume that we are creating box object. Assume that new memory is getting allocated. Same way. So now what happens? In this new memory, which constructor will execute now? First one. But what will the first one do? Initialize only W now. So what will happen now? H and D will be 0. Now this should not happen because you always want a an object which is ready for usage, and which is always have values filled with it. So here, if you see the design of this class, there is a drawback. What is the drawback? The user of this class or the client can call what? Either the first one or the second one and third one. If he calls the third one, no problem. All three variables will be initialized. But if he calls the first one or second one, problems are there. First one, if he calls, only one variable will be initialized. Second one, if he calls, only two variables will be initialized. That is the problem now. So how to stop this? That is when I can go with private. So this is when you start making your constructors as private. This is one of the good example why you make your constructor as private. Now they cannot call what? First constructor also, they cannot call second constructor also. Why? Because it is private. Now private members cannot be accessed outside the class now. I had explained you for variables, I had explained you for methods. Constructor also I had told you. What I had told? You cannot create the object or you cannot access the constructor outside the class. Okay, it should be accessed within the same class. Now the constructor, these two constructors cannot be accessed outside the class. You try to write this code now, this is error. Because you are trying to call a constructor with single parameter. It is private. You can't access it. So only one option for me to call now is the third constructor. But what will third constructor do? Invokes the second one. That second one will invoke the first one. Why it is invoking? To reuse the initialization logic. And how will I invoke now? Using this keyword. And now we are doing constructor chain. Are you following the flow now? This is more elegant way of doing it now. Okay, so earlier in this which one in hello example it doesn't make sense. Okay, but here it makes lot of sense. In hello example I was just showing you the flow. Understood? But now it is very clear for you how the things are getting executed. But what is the concept you learn now? How to access constructor of one class within the same class by using this keyword. This is what is chaining. Are you clear with this? So make two constructors as private. Now see, you can design the class box in this way or you can design the class box in this way also. It's your approach. Here there is flexibility for you. What is the flexibility? You can create a box object with 3 different parameters, or you can create with 2 different parameters, one same value, or you can create a cube with same thing. Here only one option is there. You have to create the box object with 3 values compulsory. So which one you design, it's your approach now. Both are correct only now. I'm not saying this box is correct or this box is correct. Here in this scenario, I can use 3 types of constructor. What are the 3 types? One, if I use this constructor, first constructor, we can create a box object with 3 different values. If I use the second constructor, it will create a box object with 2 different values, but with one with standard value. If I use the third constructor, cube it will create, means a box with 3 same sides. But here it is different. Always you can call the third constructor. Okay, we will not allow the first and second to be called. Why? Yeah, it will not be a correct object because W and H will not be initialized. All the instance variables should be initialized now. So that's why we'll make these two as private and open only this now. Okay, so that time what will happen? you have to give 3 different values. Even if you want to create a queue, you should write box B is equal to new box of 5, 5, 5 you have to write. Like that. Or if you want to, you can write all box objects with one standard side. Box B is equal to new box of 1 to 10. Box B1 is equal to new box of 5, 6, 10. Box B3 is equal to new box of something like 3, 4, 10. Last size should be 10. That's your approach. Correct now? Are you clear with the 2 differences? Both are correct. It depends on your scenario. So that's why we say writing a class is a logical construct. You should know how to design constructors. You should know how to write methods. You should know how to write variables. How many variables? How many constructors? That is art. And it comes with practice. That's why I'm insisting you to code. Philosophy, why I gave? I didn't want jaw dropping today. What is jaw dropping? You know, no? When I start telling new concepts, you'll open your mouth now. That I don't want. So before in hand, that's why I gave philosophy. This philosophy I gave early, no effect. But now it will have some effect. Clear? Clear this? Because you are thinking Java is something. All of you know this keyword, yes or no? You are from computer science. But now see how this keyword is looking now. Are you following this? You tell now, I know this keyword. What do you know in this keyword now? Tell. Nothing you know. Understood? That's the problem. So that's why I insist, computer science especially, you work hard. You work hard, others will work hard anyway. Because of you, not only you will get spoiled, you spoil others also. That is the problem. You'll tell what? Java is easy first. Later on, Java is difficult. Where Java is difficult? Where Java is difficult? You are not practicing, you will not agree. Simply sitting blind, you will tell. Not only you scare yourself, I will scare on full environment. Virus will do that only, no? You are like virus. Correct, na? Am I telling wrong? You only confess. That's it. Are you clear with this? So when you come to cluster, come with a clear mind. You don't know anything. If you come here thinking that I know everything, that God only should save you. Why? You know everything means what will I teach you now? Fact is you don't know anything. But you are thinking what? I know everything. Clearly I am warning you. Where are the problems you people are having? Don't take it to heart. Take it to brain. Means understand. Heart means it's very painful. Yes, so what sir is telling me like this today? Why is he scolding us? Don't take it to heart. Take it to brain. There's a difference between heart and brain. Yes or no? Heart means it's very painful. Yes sir, ingella baitare. If you take it to brain means you'll understand why I am doing this. Clear? Okay, any questions you have here? No questions? Both options are correct. Either you can design your constructors in this way or you can design it in this way. Situations will tell you that. Okay. Now one more thing we have to understand here. See, if at all one constructor wants to call another constructor. Okay. If at all, see now, the second constructor is calling the first one. The third constructor is calling the second one. Okay. So if at all one constructor wants to call the other one, okay, it should be in the first line. Notice I am calling the constructor of the first constructor. See, I am calling the first constructor in second constructor, but that is the first line. Similarly, third constructor is calling the second constructor, but that is the first line. So if at all, okay, I am telling not always, if at all one constructor wants to call another constructor, it should be in the first line. There is technical reason for that also, I will tell you why. Understood? And one more thing, one constructor only cannot call two constructors. One constructor cannot invoke what? Two constructors. Means, see this. This of W I can't do. Here you are calling, here in this line you are calling what? Second constructor. In this line you are calling what? First constructor. Why? Both should be first. How will you have both as first statements? It is not possible. Understood? Either you can write this as first or you can write this as first. Not both. Okay. So this dot D is equal to D. This will be there. Means what I am trying to say is you can have only one constructor can invoke only one constructor. That's what I am trying to say. And that should be the first line. Now why this rule now? It is very clear. See, If one constructor only goes on calling multiple constructors, if I write like this, let's see the flow. What will happen? Let's see. Just one line I have written extra. Here set box B1 is equal to new box. So this is the flow now. This of W. Then this dot D is equal to D. What will happen? You are sending 1, 2, 3, it will come here. This of WH, it will invoke the second one. This will invoke the first one. It will initialize. What it will initialize? 1, 2. Here it will initialize 2. Now control comes back. What happens now? It has to execute this one again now. First statement is over. This one it has to execute now. Again it will overwrite now. What is happening? See the flow now. Box B1 is equal to new box of 1. See, new 1, 2, 3. New memory has got allocated. Values are passed. First line invokes the second constructor invokes the first one. W is initialized to 1. Control comes back. H is initialized to 2. Now, control comes back to third constructor. Again, what will the third constructor do? Calls the first constructor now. Overwriting will happen now. So that is why they will not allow this. Grammatically they have made it as error. Grammatically means syntax error. Okay, one constructor can call only one constructor, that's it. And that is why they are telling this should be the first statement. This should be the first statement. If you are invoking the constructor, if you are accessing variable, it can be in any line. See here I am accessing variables. This dot W, in second line also I am accessing variable, third line also I am accessing variable. When you are accessing variable, it can be in any line. But if you are accessing a constructor, that is first, then other statements will come next. Here I am accessing constructor, here I am accessing variable. Variable you can access any line, but constructor should be the first statement. Even on SOP is not allowed here. That is syntax error. One simple SOP also is not allowed in the first line. So they are making it mandatory. This should be the first statement in the constructor. This should be the first statement in the constructor means we write like this. This means invocation of the constructor should be the first statement in constructor. This should be the first statement in the constructor. Understood now? Don't write only this. You will get confused. Okay, it will be like working with instance variable now. If you use this with brace, you will understand now. This should be the first statement in the constructor. This with brace you write, then you will understand. If you don't write the brace, what will happen now? Now you will get confused now. Understood? Now you will get confused. Now I am using this here. If you write it like without the brace, what will happen? Now you will see here, this example. You are using it in second line, third line, you will start getting confused. That's why I write notes properly. This with brace you ought to write. Are you clear with this? Any questions? Should I have to type and show you this? Yes, no? You can code, huh? Okay, I'll show it off. I'll complete off the design of class. Subclass and all you do. Till class completes, class data type, I'll finish it, how to code and all that. Yeah? So we'll see all these examples. Do you have any questions here? Do you have any questions? Shall I clear everything? I've written 3 examples here. Carefully notice. One is hello. Here it doesn't make any sense. It's only showing you chaining. How does one constructor invoke another constructor? Here we are not even reusing the initialization logic. Why we are not using any initialization logic here? There are no instance variables only. So where is the question of initializing here? If you are having instance variables, then I could have reused the initialization logic. Since the values are not here, I just showed you chaining. But the real example you understood here. We had 3 instance variables and we used the chaining for reusing the initialization logic. These are very terrific examples. You will not find it in any book. You open now, I showed you 4 books now, all big books, not nowhere you will find. Understood? So this is with experience what we cover. Understood? Okay, and you understood why you make a constructor as private? Sometimes you do not want that to be accessed. And private members can be accessed where now? Within the class, that's what we are doing now. And the writing 2 to this is error, because it should be the first statement. They have made it as a grammatical thing, right? This should be the first statement. So if you write down also, a grammatical error it is. But why they are doing it? They don't want one constructor to execute multiple constructors, because simply unnecessary it will overwrite. See, I can call many, if I can call one, I can call other constructors also many times now. Here also I will call now, here also I will call now. Finally who will get confused? You only will get confused. Not only here, I will write here also. I will write here also. See here what I will do. This of W. this of www. Correct? Now which one will be executed? Third one. Now wrong values will be, first of all it is overwriting. Second thing is what will happen? Wrong values will start setting in. Okay, not only that, again I'll call this of w. Anything I can do. So finally what will happen? Developer will get confused. For your benefit only, what they are doing? They have made it as grammatical error, syntax error. For your benefit only. Understood? So when you get compilation error, don't think it is for semicolon. You have to understand why. Okay, so to make the developer comfortable only, they are making that as a grammatical error. Are you clear? No questions? No questions. Again I can't write. That's why I asked 1000 times. If you ask one question, fully you have to write now. Understood? So we are seeing the combination of this with constructor also, this with variables also. That is very interesting here. You want me to show a hello example or you want me to show box example? One I'll show. Box, good. Class constructor. Constructor chain demo. You think space has come up? No. Always you write classes in this way. Means let the parameters and instance variables have the same name. Deliberately create the conflict so that here it becomes easy. I think, okay. We have to take one value, no, sorry.
It's a constructor chaining.
Yeah, constructor chaining.
But you are utilizing.
But before you type this example, you better work on hello example, where you'll understand the flow. It's mandatory you work on the hello example. It will be more clearer there, because there you are not dealing with initialization. You are just seeing only the flow. Okay, once you understand flow, then initialization will be easy. I'll show you this one, but you practice that first. Done now? So now we'll create the, I'll put SOPs if you want. See now I put down SOP in the beginning, first line. Here it will work, no problem, because we are not using this keyword here to invoke the constructor. So we will be calling the third constructor, but you will see which one gets executed first. So let's see the flow now. We will compile. Now we call the third constructor, but the output is what? First, second, third, all are getting executed. But the order is what? First, second, third. But we call the third, and which one is executed first? Second, third. Why? The third constructor called the first, second one called the first one. And after that you can print the values. What you can print? Okay, I'll just change the name to B1 because all the prints are having B1 here. Okay, fine. Are you clear now? See, it's 1, 2, 3. Value of WS 1, 2, 3. Clear this? Okay, the chaining happens. But can I write this in the third line? They will not allow. So they are telling first you invoke the other constructor. Don't initialize here. What is the meaning of this? You know why they are doing it like this? Supposing I will initialize here, then I will send the values to the other constructor can overwrite this now. There is a possible chance it can overwrite. They are not allowing. First one, let one constructor call another constructor. Whatever is pending, that you initialize in your constructor. That is their message actually. But they can't tell it elaborately. This is what they are trying to tell, and you have to learn this with practice. One constructor will call other one, and that other constructor will initialize some variables. Whatever is pending, that you initialize here. Correct only, no? So fine. So that even on C, not only forget initializing, even on SOP is not allowed here. See here. One SOP is not allowed before that. Nothing, it's so strict. This should be the first statement in the constructor. Understood? So strict they have made. Okay. Are you clear with this? So compulsory it should be the first statement. Below that you write anything, it will not bother. Understood? So do you have any questions here? If I do like this, that will happen. If I do like that, something will happen. You have any questions? You can ask. You understood how it's chaining now? What is reusing initialization logic? Clear? You open all the best notes you have now. You will not see this example. It's a very important example. Any questions you are having, ask, because it's a very important example. Chaining. No questions, sir. Huh? Then you are all Einstein. No questions means what? Huh? Correct, huh? Okay. Now there is one drawback here. What is the drawback? See this. I can call the one constructor with one value now. What will be the other values now? 0, 0. This I don't want. That's why I will make my constructor as private. You understood? When you make your constructors as private, there will be necessity. Okay. There you are not, if I told you this earlier, you wouldn't have understood. But here it becomes mandatory for you to make your constructor as private. And private members can be accessed only within the same class. That's what we are doing now. Now see, outside the, okay, now this will work. Now this will give me error. Or you are trying to access a private member, it will not allow you. Now it becomes mandatory for me to, now it will work, perfect. No flaw. This is flawless. If I remove private, there is no error, but it is flaw. You understanding now? Flaw, flawless, error. If I remove private, what will happen? Flaw, no. Okay, and one more thing, lastly now, to summarize. Outside the class, we invoke with the help of new and name. But inside the class, we invoke it with the help of this keyword. So we are seeing actually how to access members of the class within the same class. That is the final summary. Understood? And why will you want to access your understanding now? Sometimes you want to access instance variables. Why will you access instance variables? To initialize, to use the value in methods. In constructor, why will you access the instance variables? To initialize. In methods, why will you access the instance variables? To process the value. Understood? Now we are seeing the next topic. Why will one constructor access another constructor in the same class? To reuse the initialization logic. So you should know why you access the member, okay, and how you access the member also you should know. Understood? So sometimes you'll access it outside the class, sometimes you'll access it inside the class. Therefore, everything there's a technical reason. Simply don't think, okay, I can do like this, I can do like this. Because later on when you start writing logics, you should know how to code now. Instance variables also will be accessed inside the class, plus constructors also will be accessed inside the class. When you are accessing instance variables, in your scope there is conflict, use this keyword. When you are accessing, understood now, you are accessing instance variables. In your scope there is conflict, use this keyword. But if you want to invoke the constructor, only one approach. This you have to use. Yeah? Okay. Now let's see the summary of all this now. Notes now. So this can be used to invoke another constructor from one constructor within the same class. This can be used for invoking current class constructor, means constructor chaining. Bracket I have written. This will be used for doing constructor chaining within the same class. I have written a note here. One constructor will invoke another constructor to reuse initialization logic. Last point, when you are using this, see with brace I am writing everywhere, but this keyword in variables, I am not using brace. Okay, now see, when you are using this to invoke a constructor, then it should be the first statement inside the constructor. Clear with all the points? Any questions? Do you have any questions with these points? So this is a keyword in Java. This is a reference variable which refers to the current object. This keyword is used to access the members of the class within the same class. These 2 points you leave. This key can be used only to access only instance members. This point you will not understand now. I will be telling you next. This point you will not understand. I will be telling you later this point. But write it. This keyword can be used to access following members of the class. One last one is pending now. Which one? Methods. So all these points theoretically I am not telling you. With example I am showing you. Because examples are the best way to understand concepts. One side concept also you have to understand, other side we need an example to understand the concept. So all my examples are concept based, not output based. You can take any example. Any example we see now will be concept based rather than output based. You have gone to many colleges, you are from many colleges, and you have gone to many institutes also while you are in college. Every time they are showing you what? Output. Who is bothered about output? Output you will get. Understood? So learn concept. In cluster we focus more on concepts. So that is why it takes time to make you understand. Understood? You ask now, sometimes you have a question, how long will the course be? 1 month, 2 months, fast track? Now if you are Einstein, I can finish it in 1 day. Because you are very intelligent. It is your capacity now. The time here required is for you to understand. Whatever the duration you ask now, 1 month, 2 months, it is your ability. Understood? So obviously you need so much of time. When you think that you know Java, I just want to brush up. Where brushing up now? Full I am painting you. From scratch, what is int, what is float, what is for? That is the problem. Are you clear with this? Now we'll move to the methods. Method is very simple. There is no problem with methods. It will be over in 2 minutes. Clear? Okay, let's see now. Very simple, only one statement now. This can be used to invoke what? Another method from one method. That's it. Once one method wants to invoke another method, directly also you can call. You have seen it in the class. If M1 wants to invoke M2 in the same class, directly you can invoke it. I'll show you the example. But I'll not type this time. You only type it. Understood? Yeah? If you want, you can have constructor. SOP inside constructor, right? I'm not focusing on constructor now, I'm focusing on method. Inside M1 method, fine. Now I'll write M2. SOP inside M2 method. Now, first we'll see how to access these members outside the class. Class demo PSVM. Hello. H is equal to new hello. I'm creating the object. So once an object is created, you know what is there. Two methods will be there, M1 and M2. Correct? Huh? What are the two methods? M1 and M2. Constructor, you know, don't focus on that. New memory will be allocated. Okay, address is 150. The default constructor or your constructor gets executed. Fine. Now, I want to access that memory in another class. How will I do it? Directly you can call h dot m1, h dot m2. So how do you access the methods outside the class? Create object. Using the reference variable dot operator, you access it. Perfect. Now, scenario is different. Now, M2 wants to call M1. Now, if you have the question, why will one method call another method? To reuse logic. Same story. So, now how will M2 call M1? You can call it. You can call it in the first line or you can call it in second line. Here, there is no restriction. Okay, because say, when you want to execute some logic, business logic, it's not hard and fast rule that should execute first, this should execute next. But constructor, it is mandatory. It should be in the first only, because let that initialization complete. What is pending, we'll do it in the our constructor. Means one constructor will call another one. There, the first constructor, when it calls the second constructor will do some initialization. What is pending, it will be done by first constructor. But here, if M2 wants to call M1, it can call it in the first line or it can call it in the last line. There is no rule. Understood? So if at all you want to call it directly. Or you can use this dot M1 also. This is also correct. Are you clear with this? Any line. So now, hello h is equal to new hello. I'll not call M2. I'll not call M1. I'll call only M2. But M2 itself will call what? M1 now. Finished. You can call it in any line. First line or second line or third line, that's your wish. Any line. Clear with this? This dot M1 can be called in any line. Yeah? Any questions? You can call it with, see here, it is optional to use. Okay. And remember, you will not have conflict between methods. That one more thing I'll tell you. You can never have conflict between methods in the same class. Can I have two methods, M1 methods in the same class? Why? Scope. You already declared on M1 with what? No parameter, no return type. Again, if I try to one more M1 with no return type, no parameter, it will give me what? Error. What error? Or generic error. You already declared something once. See, in one scope, int A, I keep telling you, scope is very important. You can declare something once. Variable can be declared once and used n number of times. Same way, method also the same story. You have declared one method here, no, in this scope. That is scope. How can you have two methods with the same name and same thing in the same scope? This is wrong. This syntax is wrong in every language. Java also follows it. So you can't have conflict with methods in the same class. So obviously this will be a different name. So when it is having a different name, when there is no conflict, it is easy to call. You can call it with this or without this. Generally for methods, we don't use this keyword. Generally. For variables we'll use it. Constructors we'll use it. But for methods, we do not use it. Are you clear? Any questions? Generally we don't, we write it like this, means we write it without this. Generally, that's the convention what we follow. But I show you one more, I have to type and show you. There's something I have to show you. If you don't write this now, this start M1. What will happen, can you guess? I'm writing only M1 now. When you compile it now, compiler will be adding what? This start M1. If you don't write also, it will be added implicitly. That I have to show you. I'll finish it off fast. Give proper names to classes. Later on you will need all your examples. See now, first we will use it separately. See outside the class how you call? H dot M1, H dot M2. Like this only you have to call. There is no other approach for you. Okay, but now M2 wants to call M1 within the same class. You can call it in first line, or you can call it in last line also. Okay, I'll call in both lines, no issue, wherever you want to call. But now I'll call only M2, I'll not call what? M1. And you can see two times which one will be executed? M1. I'll compile, say M1, M2, M1, because it's invoking twice. Yeah, but let's see the dot class file. But it is not adding actually, sorry for that. I thought it would be adding. I thought it would be adding this dot M1. But fine. Okay, if you want you can add, or you can leave it. See, if I want I can call like this, which one? With here I have called without this. Understood now? Just now I am rectifying the mistake. I told if you don't write this, compiler will add it. Actually I told you, it will not add. So you can call like with this keyword also. This also give the output. But generally we avoid this. Calling methods with this keyword is not done by developer, but it's possible. So finally what we are learning now, this keyword is used to access all the members of the class within the same class, and this becomes mandatory. Sometimes if your method is private, you will have to call it with some other method only. Sorry, not here. Now if M1 is private, you have to call it through M2 only. There is no other option for you. Understood? Private members are not accessible outside the class. Any questions? M1 I can't access now because it is private. You call M2, M2 will only call M1. So when you write your members, you can restrict the access to the members of the class also. Clear? Which member you want to expose, expose. Which you don't want, leave. Any questions now? See, this keyword is over. This can be used to invoke one other method from one method. Clear? Any questions? I'll give you an SCJP question now. Generally asked. Okay, one simple it is, but very interesting one. Just we'll see. Okay, so you know this is very simple. Hello h is equal to new hello h dot m1 I can call it. It gets executed. Object also gets created. You know that, no? See, most of the examples which I take are SCJP related only. But I don't highlight. I can't keep on telling SCJP question, SCJP question. All concepts are related to SCJP only. Understood? I mean, see, what is there in the language only will be there in the exam. No, you understand now. In exam, what will be there? Outside language? No. What is there in the language only will be there in the exam. So whatever concept I cover, it will be there now. So now let's see the flow. Hello h is equal to new. New will allocate memory. Constructor will be called finished. H dot m1. It will call the method. SOPH, it will print what? Address. Yeah? Okay. I'll declare one more variable now. Hello h1 is equal to null. Can I use h1? No. It is not initialized. Till here everything okay, no? Fine. Let's see this now. Very interesting. M2 method. Return this. What is the return type now? What is the return type? Return type, what will you write? Return type of the method. Hello. It is hello. It will return the address. You call M2 method now. So actually this is all the reference variable which is saying the reference of this object now. Yes or no? You call h dot m2. Return type is what? Yes sir? So it will refer to same object. Understanding programs now? Huh? Java, understand. I did not write this dot w, this dot h. I am returning what? This. Okay. If you want, you can make, say, you can have variables here. Int x, int y. I can write this dot w. That time what will happen? Return type will be, sorry, this dot x now. If it is initialized, I can write, supposingly, see, int x, int y. This is a parameter I will initialize. This dot x is equal to x. This dot y is equal to y. So if I say return this dot x, int. But if I return only this address, it will return. But it's an address of what? Hello type. Following now? We'll see this program. Very interesting. I mean, now h1 is ready. h1 will refer to the same address. SOP h1 will print what? Address. Same address. h1 dot m1 you can work now. That is optional. But again you call h1 dot or h2 dot h1 dot m2. Again this it will return. All will refer to the same object. You can accept it in what? h1 dot m2 hello h2. Following now? Earlier, see there only you are saying h1 is equal to h2, h2 is equal to h3. But now what's happening? That address we are giving it from this method to that method. And now carefully observe. When you see a class, don't hurry up. Okay, carefully see. Name, return type, parameters. Do not confuse this for what? Constructor. In exam you make mistakes like this. You will be in a hurry because your girlfriend will be waiting for you outside. So what will happen? Message will come. When are you coming? So what will you do? Fast, 5 minutes. That time you will hurry and you will bury. Understand now? So that is why carefully go through the class. So you can work with data types properly only when you know it properly. So before I'm giving you the hints now, how do you work in object oriented languages? Before you predict the output there, first understand which data type you are using there and what are the members of your data type. Never look into main method. See, if I ask you the output without seeing this class, what will you tell there? Generally you have a tendency, if I ask you what is the output of any program, what will you do? First you go to main. First thing immediately, where is main? Where is main? And you'll start predicting. That is wrong. There are steps. First in main, which class has been used? Study that first. Don't look into the program. What data types you have used here? First check that. That data type you go and study. Okay, it's having two instance variables. It's having one constructor with two parameters. It's having one M1 method with no return type, with no parameter. It's having M2 method with return type of the same class type and no parameter. You have to study it. Then you see the program here, everything you'll understand. This is how you have to learn. Not only in Java, in C++ also you have to take the same approach. If you want to learn C++, go and start studying now, but don't do it. One language only if you are learning, that's more than sufficient. Understood? One language you will be perfect. Many institutes will advertise. You join course, all the three will teach. One only we are not finishing properly. How will you learn 3? What, you are genius, sir? So only one you learn, perfect. But after completing one language, you can learn so many languages you want. That will be your ability. The same concepts will come with different style. Same concepts will come with different style. Clear this? Shall I clear all this now? Okay, we'll type this and see the program now. So return type is very important. You should not confuse that for a constructor. These are very tricky interview questions what you will be getting in SCJP. Yeah? Now why am I writing the constructor here now? To show you that only one object is created. That's why I put SOP. Multiple objects are not created here. Only one will be created, but all will be referring to the same object. That is the reason I am putting SOP inside the constructor. Whenever you want to find out how many objects are getting created and all that, put SOPs in constructor. You will see now how many times the constructor gets executed, those many objects are getting created. So these are all debugging steps, how you have to code. Okay, now we are focusing on M2 method. M1, it's a normal method, but M2, valid, because you are defined and you are using it. Okay, so now return. Done? Clear this? Okay, now let's see this. Compiles means code is correct. Object, okay, you can create h dot. First compile, man, whenever you write your data type now, don't write out directly all this. Before you write this, first as soon as you complete writing your class, compile it. Check whether the syntax is correct and all that. So fine, after that, h dot, m1 will execute normally, I don't have to do it now. H dot, m2 we can call. We'll do one thing, we'll print SOP inside m2 plus this I'll print. Address will be same. Correct? Huh? So I'll print SOP h1 also here. You are more worried about the address. Inside main h. h1 is equal to h dot m2. Finish now? You'll see the output now. This H and H1 will be having the same address. Where no? Here, semicolon. Oh, your favorite error only will come. All are having the same address. Perfect. Now using H1 and you can work with that object. It is referring to that object. So like this, your variables will start referring to objects. Once your variable refers to an object only, you can work. Understood? Means object is nothing but code containing complexity. To work with that object, we should get the reference. We can get the reference in many ways. One simple approach is allocate memory, give that address to the variable. Box B is equal to new box. One simple approach. But otherwise also, many things will happen. Till now I had shown you how to return different class. In hello class we are returning what? Box class. But in hello class I can return what? Same class also. We have seen plenty of methods now. That's why I am insisting on what? Argument, parameter, return type. This is why I insist. Logic anybody will write, man. It will take you still to make you understand what is argument and parameter. For me it takes you still 1 more month to understand, you people. What is argument, what is parameter. After that you can write logics. So till you are comfortable in using the data types, it's impossible for you to write logics. So don't even bother about it. Right now you might be thinking, why sir is not teaching us to write any logic. You can't write. And if I write, you will ask me, sir, why you are doing that? Why you are doing this? Where I cannot give explanation. Okay, but once I complete all these concepts and start getting coding now, you will only understand. It will be very simple. Clear? Any questions? Okay. So this keyword is over. Understood? This keyword is over now. So I think we have to move to the next topic. Okay, that is static keyword. Static keyword. If static is done, almost all we have finished with what are classes. Understood? Static keyword. See, one side we are learning the data types and other side we go on to learn the keywords also. Okay, that also we are learning. Parallelly we are covering so many things. We are learning OOPS. We are learning at the same time Java, don't forget. Okay, so correct now? You are coming here for learning Java. If I tell I am not teaching you Java, then you will get worried. So Java I am teaching you, but in Java we are learning all this now. Data types, keywords, OOPS, everything we are learning. OOPS will continue. I am not telling OOPS is over. OOPS is still pending. Okay. We will be seeing it with more examples, more brilliant examples. Some concepts we are going now. And like we are going with some of the keywords now. There are 50 keywords in Java. We have completed most of the keywords. See, primitive types. These 8 keywords we have finished. Byte, chart, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. You have a pencil now. Put tick mark. Else you'll tell sir, skip the syllabus. Then next, user defined types. We are going with class. See this one, keyword, private, access, specifier. It's classified like this. Still more are there, but almost all we are trying to cover all the keywords. Then in the control statements. Okay, we have completed everything. If, else, for, do, while, switch, case, default, break, continue, go to reserved, but you cannot use it. Okay. So then we saw this keyword now. We saw static. We are going to see static. It's called as a modifier. Okay, clear this? So it's well classified. So always keep referring to this chart you have written, so that we will be following. If I take some topic that falls in where, you should know what it is. So it is a miscellaneous, fine. But when we are studying this, it was data types. When you are studying this, control statements, the classification only will give you the idea what it is. Okay, when I told private, it is nothing but access specifier. Almost all you will get the idea. So that is why I have so neatly classified the keywords. Generally every book they will mention all the keywords. They will not classify it. Almost all I am classified it so brilliantly so that you can understand this. Okay, see data literal values but not keywords, null, true, false, literal values. They are values but they are not keywords. Clear? It's not classified as keyword. So you leaving that you can count it as 50. Including that it is 53. But Java doesn't consider they as keywords. So that's why it calls we have got 50 keywords. Clear? Some are reserved, const and goto I think. These are the two reserved keywords. Const and miscellaneous apart. It is reserved and goto. Why they reserve it you know no? Today they will not be supporting it. Tomorrow in case the support is required for that functionality, they will add it. Goto they don't want to give the support. But in case developers will ask, that time they can't go on modifying it, okay, or invent a new keyword for that. Because developers will have difficulty in learning same concept with new keyword. But already people will be knowing the concept now with the keyword. So that's just there to enable it. That's why they reserve the keywords. Clear? Okay, so we are going with static now. Static is what? Modifier. Okay, I think these are the keywords we'll be seeing. Exceptional handling, that one last. Okay. So next heading what we'll be seeing is static. Now again basically I'll not give any notes today. You just get the output and come. Okay, just see how you get the output, how you work with this. Tomorrow we'll go fully in depth into this. Just one simple example I'll tell you now. Tomorrow, this is only intro. Okay, tomorrow we'll be seeing more things about this. So static is also basically what? Keyword in Java. Okay, static is also basically a keyword in Java. Okay, now you can use this keyword for declaring your members of the class. Are you getting the point? Static keyword is used for what? Declaring members of the class. How many members does your class have? Class has how many types of members? Variables, blocks, constructor, methods. Okay, so see, all this can be made as static, but you cannot make a constructor. Means if I want I can say declare a variable as static. If I want I can make my block as static. If I want I can make my method as static, but I cannot make my constructor as static. Means static can be used with only variables, blocks and methods. Static keyword can be only used with three members of the class. Three members of the class. Static keyword is used with members of the class. First thing you understand that. But with which member you can use? Only with variable, blocks and methods. You cannot use it with the constructor. Why? Technical reason is there. We'll be seeing it. Simply they will not tell you can't use. Technical reasons are there. We'll see it. Static is a big concept. Minimum we require 2-3 sessions. Minimum. It's a vast subject which you neglect. If you understand this, then you'll understand what is public static void mean. You want to understand that now? What is static doing in void mean? You have to understand means put effort here. Then you'll understand. Are you clear? Because that's your big question always. What is public static void mean? Correct? Void mean okay, but what is public static? Public also okay, but what is static? If you want to understand that, go through all this properly. So static is basically a keyword. First point. The next is it can be used to declare your members of the class. Which members of the class? Variables, blocks, methods, not with constructor. So I'll show you some examples straight away. First see it, then we'll be seeing it. So now see, your class can have two types of members. Your class can have two types of members. One is instance member, other one is static member. Two types of members your class can have. Till now you have worked with only instance members. Instance members means you have to create an object and then use it. Otherwise you cannot use it. But static members can be used without creating an object. Understood? You can work with static members without creating an object. So let's see, then you'll understand this. So static members can be, you can use it without creating an object. See this. So static int a is equal to, we are seeing with hard coding. Later on we'll see what are all the different ways you can initialize it. Static int a, static int b is equal to 2. Static void m1. So see now, I am having what here? 2 variables and 1 method, but I am making it as static. See, most of computer science people, they make this problem. Explain the members of the class. If I tell you, what will you do now? Okay, if I ask you, tell me the members of the class, you know what you will tell? There are 2 instance variables declared as static, you will tell. You should never tell that. Static variables are only different, instance variables are only different. Okay, but you know how you tell? There are 2 instance variables, A and B, which have been declared as static. That statement itself is wrong. It is wrong. Okay, you should always tell there are 2 static variables. Or, if I remove by chance if I remove here, there is 1 static variable and 1 instance variable. You will see the difference. Okay, do not compare both now. First we'll learn static completely, then we'll compare both. Understood? But just I'm showing you how to identify. This is a static member, this is a instance member. If you're not using the prefix, means if you're not using the keyword static, it becomes instance member. Or instance members are also called as non-static members. So non-static and instance members are same. No difference. Non-static and instance members are same. Static members are different. Okay. And remember, I've told you very clearly, don't make this mistake. Okay, static members are used for defining members of the class. Now, don't make local variables as static. These are all syntax errors. Is it a member now? Is X a member of class? It's a local variable. So static cannot be used here. So you should know which keyword to use where. Why and all technical reasons are there. All we'll see. Tomorrow is the main class of static. Understood? But don't do these mistakes. That's why I'm telling, stressing. Static is used for declaring members of the class. Don't use it wherever you want. If you try to use it wherever you want, you'll start getting errors. Okay, this is error now. Okay, fine. Or I'll remove it only. It will be confusing. Are you clear? So class is there. Now let's see how to work with this. I'll make all static members. So in my class there are 3 static members. Okay, let's see now. Class demo. How can you work with the static members? Next question you have, obviously. Yes or no? See here Java becomes very interesting in this subject. We'll talk about memory, everything we'll talk. Okay, so see this. Hello h1 is equal to null. Simply run the program. Inside, okay, no, now not required. Okay, so now see, after declaring the variable, I can directly say h1 dot a. Directly. It will print what? 5. I have not created the object. You can access your static members. There are many ways you can access static members. See, for accessing instance members, there is only one way. Create object, use the reference variable, dot operator, access it. But to access static members, there are 2-3 ways, which I'll show you now. Okay, so you don't have to create an object. One first way is declare a reference variable, directly start accessing the member. It will work. SOP, all the members you can access. No doubt about it. Understood? Even I can call the method also. It will work. This is one way to access a static member. What is the first way to access a static member? Declare a variable. With the variable, start accessing the members. That is one way. Next approach. Directly with class only I can access. So you access variables like this, methods you will access like this, hello dot m1. Second approach. First approach is access with variable, reference variable. You can access static members with a reference variable. Second approach, you can access it with class directly. Valid, highly valid code. You don't have to write this. Means you don't have to write these lines. If you really want to call, you can call it like this also. Third approach, that is normal, by creating an object. Normally how you do? Hello h2 is equal to new hello h1 dot a h2 dot a h2 dot b, put SOP h2 dot m1. Perfect. All three ways you can access. But instance means only this way. Third approach will take. For this, 2 extra will come. Either with reference variable, but I have not created objects. Notice that. Understood? Now definitely the first question what you will be getting is, what is that? Without creating an object, how will I access? Yes or no? Creating an object means what? Bringing code into existence. So your code is still not come into existence. But how are you accessing the member here? Definitely your question is this. So still now you have studied what is an object. Okay. So now see, it is like this. Next class I will be giving you detailed information about this. Generally, see, this will be your JVM. Your dot class files will be lying in the hard disk. Okay. So first initially the dot class, see, you might say this is your demo program, class demo. You will say PSVM hello h is equal to new hello you'll tell. Fine, you create an object like this. But actually what is happening, see, to execute this program, first you'll type Java demo. Yes or no? Control 2 is nothing but shortcut of Java demo. Okay. So Java demo means first Java command will start the JVM. After starting the JVM, demo.class is loaded into the JVM. How? By using class path. Do not forget that. Okay. After demo is loaded, now hello class will be loaded. When it is loaded, we are saying hello h is equal to new hello.class will be loaded. Tomorrow I will be going very in detail into this. So as soon as hello.class is loaded, see, demo.class got loaded, hello.class got loaded. So when the class gets loaded into the JVM, that is when static members come into existence. Static members always come into existence when the class gets loaded into the JVM. Okay, but instance members come into existence when the instance is created. There are two things. So before an object gets created, class gets loaded into the JVM, and then object will be created. So the JVM will use the definition of the class as a template, and then it will create the object. But first, to create the object, the definition of the class is required now. So that is what? Class will be loaded from the hard disk into the JVM. Okay, are you clear? So now the static members come into existence when the class is loaded. So definitely they are existing. They are existing and you can access it. Now your question is now, when does the class get loaded into a JVM? Next question. Because here I am not telling new hello. Correct? Here also we are accessing it directly. I am not saying new. We are not creating an object. While creating an object only, class is getting loaded now. See, there are many ways a class gets loaded into the JVM, which very shortly you will be seeing. Don't think there is only one way. One of the way what you can load a class into the JVM is by using Java command. Java demo will tell. So Java command actually loads demo.class into the JVM. This is one way a class is getting loaded into the JVM. Another way to load a class into the JVM is by using new keyword. New also will do two things. See, Java command will only load it. It will not create the object. But new will do what? It will load plus create the object. Now, Java command you cannot use it for all the classes. Java command will be used for only one class, which contains main method. Java command will be used for only one class, which contains main method. That class will be loaded and main method starts off execution. After that class is loaded, now main method will start loading other classes. Understood? How it will load? New. That is one approach. It will load the class also and then it will create the object also. So this is how we will start loading other classes into the JVM. First class will load it with the help of Java. Other classes will load it with the help of new keyword. Next, there is one more way. If you access a static member also directly, class is loaded. So still now I am saying, when does a class get loaded into a JVM? Right now I showed you three approaches. Still more are there, we'll see it. You just access a static member. Automatically it will also loaded into the JVM. But object is not created. Only class is loaded. So there's a difference between class getting loaded and object getting created, which we'll be seeing very clearly next. We have discussed completely about object. We have not discussed anything about class getting loaded into JVM and all. Object you are very much comfortable. But before the object gets created, some more things happen. Okay, so we'll see how that happens. Clear? So these are the three ways. So see now, we are taking this approach, access a static member. See, when I am accessing a static member, class is loaded. Okay, see, a class, one more thing what you have to understand is, one class is loaded only once into the JVM. But you can create 1000 objects of that class. There is no restriction. So class is loaded only once, but objects can be created n number of times. Okay, so supposingly see here, I have not written all this code. Example, I'll be proving this with you code tomorrow, but get the concept now. Okay, here I'm accessing the member, here I'm accessing. I'll not write these 2 lines of code. Here I'll write what? Hello HT is equal to new hello. What will happen here? Class is also loaded, object is also created. Forget these steps now. Class is also loaded, object is also created. After this line, I'll write one more line. Hello, h3 is equal to new hello. What will happen? Only object will be created. Class is not loaded this time, because once it is loaded now, so the JVM is brilliant enough to identify whether the class is loaded or not loaded. Understood? So we'll be seeing this very clearly tomorrow. Okay, so class is loaded only once, but by chance, supposingly I write this line. Now let's take these 2 lines into this one now. I'll take first and third one. Leave the second one now. Till now I was telling what? Only the third one. Forget 1 and 2. Take the third scenario here. In third scenario, first time class is loaded and object is created. Second time, only object is created. Okay. Now let's come with first and third scenario. Class is loaded, object is not created. Now object is directly created, because class has already been loaded now. Understood? Class has been already loaded. When it got loaded here, first stage, when you access the static member, class got loaded. Now here, new hello you are telling. It will not load the class, because class has already been loaded in the first stage itself, and now it will only create the object. So you'll be getting clear idea about this with more examples. This is theory. Again, you will not understand theory with what? Mouth words. You have to get what? Example for it. And I'll be giving you very good examples which will clearly show you when the class gets loaded, when the objects are getting created. Very clearly we'll see all this. Okay, so this is theory. Anyway, so that's one way now. So next, to make you still more clear, I'll be going with this deeper tomorrow. You don't have to worry. Just see all this and come. So is this one program over? First work with this simple program. Once you complete this program, next, this is second program. In second program, what I'll do, I'll remove static. Now there is 2 static member and 1 instance member. Now let's see how to work. This is second program. Second program is one small change. What is it? What is the change? Only B has been made as instance. Now, see, this will work. This will not work, because B has not come into existence. B has not come into existence. This will also work. This will work. This will not work. This will work. But after I create the object, this is normal now. All will work. Very clearly you can see. Instance variables come into existence only when the object is created. Understood now? This is second program. Just check. Compiler only will give error. Cannot access B. Are you following this? This is second program. Next, third program we'll see. Shall I clear this now? Are you clear? Just see how you access members first. Then we'll start working. If you don't know how to access, only how you work. So you should know how to access your instance members also, static members also. Clear? Shall I clear this now? Okay. Now we'll see on third example. A very interesting example. See, static members come to existence when the class is loaded. Instance members come into existence when the instance is created. Remember the difference. Okay, local variables are different story. Local variables will come into existence when the method is invoked. So I'll put we'll finalize all these things now. Okay, I'll be giving you very clear information about difference between static, instance and local variable. Time has come now where you have to understand difference between all these three, and you will understand now because you are very much comfortable in local, you are very much comfortable in static. I'll introduce you are comfortable in instance. I'll introduce static now, And once we understand all the three, then we'll compare and finish it off. So when you write classes, you'll get the idea now, whether to go for static variable, local variable, or instance variables. So let's see how to work now. So now see, now instance variables, you know how to initialize. You can do it in many ways. Many ways means hard coding, dot operator, method, constructor. So for static variables also I'll be showing you very slowly later. What are the different ways you can initialize static variables? But today I'll be initializing static variables with hard coding. Then we'll see there are two type of variables, static and instance. Instance variables, what are the different ways you can initialize? Hard coding, dot operator, method, constructor. Understood? Static variables, how do you initialize? First we'll start with hard coding, then we'll see what are the different approaches. So fine, this is our class now. You got the class? What is your class having now? A is hard coded, static variable. Okay, fine. Now, one more thing what you have to understand is, static variables come into existence when the class is loaded into the JVM. Instance variables come into existence when the object is created or instance is created. This is the difference. Now, static variables, how many copies will be there? There will be only one copy of the static variable. There is only one copy and it will be belonging to the class. So, static variables belong to class. Instance variables belong to instance. Getting the difference? Okay. So, they belong to class and they belong to instance. Don't look at this class. I am talking internally in the JVM. Understood? Static variables belong to class. Tomorrow I will draw the memory diagram and show you. There will be only one copy of what? Static variable. Okay, but there will be n number of copies of instance variable. So how many instance variables will be there? Depends on the number of instances you create. Understood? How many copies of static variable will be there? Only one copy. So to prove that, I'll write on code now. To prove that. So see this. Hello. H1 is equal to new hello. This is the third program. All these programs we'll type and see tomorrow. But you code and come before in hand. Hello H1 is equal to new hello. So what happens? One object is created. In this object you will be having B, and B is an instance variable. Default value of B will be what? 0. New memory will allocate when constructor it will, default constructor it will execute, and then you will have M1 method also. What are the members? But A will not be inside this object. A will be somewhere outside. So first A comes to life. Class is getting loaded. That time A will come to life, and the value of A will be 5. Now when the object is created, B comes into existence. Are you clear with this? Fine. Next, in this B now, I will initialize h1.b is equal to 10. So what is the value here? I am initializing the instance variable with dot operator. I can do it with constructor also, that is secondary, but I am just showing you. Hello h2 is equal to new hello. Now what happens? One more object gets created. So new. Class is already loaded now. Okay. So you are having B here also, it is 0. You are having M1. So I will write h2.b is equal to 20. So in h2 now, value of B was earlier 0. Now it becomes 20. See, in h1 there is one B value, B variable. In h2 there is one B variable. Hello h3 is equal to new hello. One more object gets created. See, this address is 150. This address is 250. This address is 350. You will have B. Default value will be 0. h3.b is equal to 30. Yes, this will change now. And you print if you want. SOP. You can print A in many ways. How will you print A? Hello.a you can print. Or h1.a you can print. h2.a you can print. h3.a you can print. Work with A also, work with B also. Everywhere it will print what? 5, 5, 5, 5. But the same if you print h1.b, 10. The same if you print h2.b, 20. The same if you print h3.b, 30. Print if you want. h1.b, h2.b, h3.b. 10, 20, 30. But A was what? 5, 5, 5, 5. Correct now? Clear with this? Okay. Now I'll modify some value. I'll say h1.b is equal to 100. So it will modify here. Agreed? Now will it affect H2 and H3? After modifying this, again you print these statements. H1 dot B, H2 dot B, H3 dot B. H1 dot B will be 100. H2 dot B will be what? 20. H3 dot B will be what? 30. After modifying. It is not, see, if you modify the instance variable, it will affect only the instance. It will not affect these two. But carefully see this. If I modify A, I can access A in many ways and modify it in many ways. Because once you access, you can modify. No, I can say hello dot A is equal to 99, or I can say H1 dot A is equal to 99, or I can say H2 dot A is equal to 99, or I can say H3 dot A is equal to 99. But if you modify it here, sorry, A, no, yes, it is changed here. In fact, all are accessing this only. A is equal to 5, it was earlier, now it will be changed to 99. After you do the modification, how you want you do? See, only after you access you can modify it, access it. Now everywhere it will change. So that shows clearly that there is only one copy. Very clearly you can see. And if you modify that in that place, it will affect for everybody. Why it will affect everybody? Because you are modifying the value in that variable. Others are only accessing it. When they are accessing it, obviously it will be the same. Means the changed value. Are you clear with this? Work with this. Come tomorrow, we'll see more things. So static variables, there will be one copy, and we call it as global variable. Static variables behave globally. Okay, if you change it, it will affect everywhere. But they are not global. In Java, there is no concept of global variables. Okay, why there is no concept of global variable? Java is complete object-oriented language. Whatever you write a variable, it should be within a class. Understood? So that's why Java is not having global variable concept. It will be inside a class. Okay. And see, to access it, I have to go with what? Class name, variable name, hello.a I have to go, no. H1.a I have to do, no. Something I have to do. But blindly I cannot say what? A. In C what happens? If you declare a global variable, in any scope you can access it. In any method, anywhere. Okay, that is called as global. But Java is not supporting global. Why, you know? That is, see, we are talking about security. You change the value there, you know how it gets affected. So that is why Java will not support global. There is no concept of global here. But it behaves globally. Behaves globally means what? You change the value, it will affect everywhere. Okay. Now one more thing. You can have one more class called as test. You can have one more variable called as static int a is equal to 9. This is also valid. If you want to work with this a, test.a. If you want to work with that a, hello.a. But in C you can't have global variable declared twice now. So there are some examples I will give you which shows clearly static variables are not global but behave globally. We'll see that this is a big pointer. It's not as easy as you're thinking. We'll be seeing with the examples. So just I have told theoretically. Okay. So now how will you access now? Test.a. That one, hello.a. So is it global now? No, no. Global means how will you access? Directly SOPA. Wherever you want you can access it. But here you have to go with class names like this or variable names. So practice these things. Tomorrow I will be going more in depth into what are static things. That's it. Any questions you are having? Tomorrow we'll see static, no problem. Okay, that's it.